All right. This next set of videos, whether it's one video or two here on this last part, we're dealing with patronage and civil service, can be a little bit confusing. So you may need to watch this twice. I'm going to try to post just the video for you as well, so you could watch it again. All right. So basically, what we're going to see happening is a switch from local, more city levels to something at the national level, which means it's going to deal with the presidents. All right. So corruption is now moving to the national level. And the type of corruption that we're going to talk about is patronage. And what patronage is it's the giving of government jobs to people who helped a candidate get elected. This is also called the spoils system. Now, this type of thing still happens today. For example, the Secretary of Education, her name is Betsy DeVos. You can look this up. She did not go to public school. Her children did not go to public school. And she has very little knowledge about public schools. However, her husband gave President Trump millions of dollars to get elected, and from his company. So you can do a little bit of research on that. It is kind of interesting how she got that job. She is actually the only person to have the president of the Senate have to do a deciding vote, because her nomination was 50-50. We've talked about that in the past. All right, so what happens is when you give people a job because they are not very good at it, or I'm sorry, you're giving somebody a job because of how they helped you get elected, bad things are going to happen. Well, one, they're incompetent, they're not very good at their job. Two, there's going to be some corruption for personal gain. Three, there's going to be fraud. So those three are bad. And then as a result, you get a reform, which is the change, and that's civil service. So that's going to be a good thing. All right. So the question is, how did patronage contribute to government incompetence and fraud? Well, one, by allowing people to be hired for government jobs on the basis of political beliefs rather than ability, they didn't do a good job. That means they're incompetent. If you are incompetent at something, that means you don't know how to do it. So if you don't know the definition, or if you didn't know the definition of incompetence, you are incompetent of the definition of incompetence. All right. So incompetence, like if you don't know how to go out and play a sport, you're incompetent at that sport, or drive a tractor or something like that. All right. What you are then doing is you are giving those people power, and you're providing them opportunities to misuse or influence things in ways that they didn't have before, because you had just given them that job or position. All right. Civil service is the opposite of patronage. Civil service is the idea that government jobs should go to those that are most qualified. All right. Civil service made progress under these presidents. Hayes, Garfield, and Arthur. Those are the Republicans. All right. These are all Republicans. So we're going to get into a little bit of Democratic Republican things, and you should remember this stuff going all the way back to the third thing that we talked about in the Modern Issues unit. So what you have here in order, you have Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland. So you have Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland. Now, we're going to get to McKinley and Roosevelt, and we've talked a little bit about those guys at other times throughout the year, okay? So we're definitely going to talk about them in the last unit for the year when we get into imperialism, because they're going to be huge imperialists, all right? But we're mainly talking about Rutherford B. Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Grover Cleveland, William Harrison, and Grover Cleveland again. Cleveland's the only president to serve 2 terms non-consecutively, interesting enough. All right, so this is what you got. Hayes is pushing for reform. Now remember, Hayes is a Republican, but he's hated by the stalwarts of the New York City political machine. So what we have here is we have the stalwarts are Democrats. Remember that. Stalwarts are Democrats. They're part of that New York City political machine, which is helping their candidates get elected. All right. Hayes doesn't run for re-election in 1880. And this is where I'm sorry. Go back. I'm not going to restart my video. Stalwarts are Republicans from the New York political machine. I got confused there for a second. That's my bad. Stalwarts, again, Republicans. All right. So this is important here. Hayes doesn't run for re-election. So the problem is this. Who are they going to get? And again, they have to make people happy here so that they're going to vote for this guy and they're going to try to get him elected. So the problem is not splitting the vote and losing to the Democrats in the election. All right. And splitting the vote, we've gone through this before. If you have two people, so let's say you have Democrat and you have Republican. If this guy over here gets 60% of the vote, he's going to win. Now, over here, if you have two Democrats, that splits the vote. This guy over here wins. Even getting the same number of votes, even if he only gets 40%, he wins because he gets a larger number of votes. All right? We have talked about this in class multiple times. All right, so this is what they do. So the Republicans nominate two people, one for president, one for vice president. The president's James A. Garfield, and that's to make reformers happy. The reformers are the people that want civil service. The stalwarts are the people that want patronage. Again, let me say that again. They nominate Garfield as president. That makes the reformers happy. Garfield wants to end patronage and have civil service, while Chester A. Arthur is a stalwart. That means he wants patronage. He wants to give people jobs because they helped get people elected. Should be good on that. If not, rewind and rewatch. So this is what happens. People knew this was going to happen. Garfield gets elected. He gave reformers most of the patronage jobs once he was elected. Obviously, this is going to anger the stalwarts. One particular guy gets really upset. His name is Charles Guiteau. All right, he's a stalwart lawyer who helped Garfield get elected and then was subsequently turned down for a job. So he shoots Garfield, who dies. He assassinates the president because the president didn't give him a job. All right, so now Chester A. Arthur, who was a stalwart, would become the president. So this here is a picture of Charles Guiteau. All right, this here is the gun with it. And the gun's important. It's in the Smithsonian, I believe in D.C., and it has an ivory handle. And he actually made a quote saying something about, yeah, this gun would look good in a museum after I killed the president or something like that. All right, this here is a political cartoon of Charles Guiteau. An office or your life. So basically saying he wanted a job or he was going to kill the president. And President Garfield's pretty well known for not being in office for very long before he was shot and killed by Charles Guiteau. All right, we're going to continue with this. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video. Just stick with it. Arthur, people thought he was going to... You know what? We're going to stop this video and I'm going to continue on the next one.